This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Drama surrounding a deal to exchange captured IDF soldier Gilad Shalit has reached its peak. At 7 o'clock this evening, the Forum of 7 key cabinet members is meeting for the 5th time in what could be a crucial session to discuss the swap. This after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Shalit's parents late this afternoon. IBA's Eli Wogelenter has that story.
A day filled with tense drama continues as the Forum of 7 Ministers is scheduled to meet later this evening for the 5th time in 2 days to discuss the exchange of prisoners for captured IDF soldier Gilad Shalit. With added pressure building from street demonstrators, the 7 ministers who deal with the most sensitive security affairs continue debating all day what appears to be the details of what to do with the released Palestinian prisoners. At issue is whether to allow them to return to their homes in the West Bank. Earlier today, the captive soldiers' parents met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Gilad's father, Noam Shalit, said that the Prime Minister had given the family no new updates regarding the deal.
We are waiting for decisions, and we think that it's about time to decide and to conclude this issue.
Shalit's mother urged the ministers debating the deal to remember what will be the outcome of their vote. Everyone voting needs to realize that his vote could bring about one of 2 results: a death sentence for Gilad or his release from captivity, Aviva Shalit said. This is a difficult day, but I hope it will end with more encouraging news. Netanyahu said yesterday that while he was pushing for a deal, he was not willing to make certain concessions to Hamas. I'm ready to go far with the Shalit deal, but I will not compromise on my red lines, chief among them the release of terrorists to the West Bank, the premier was quoted as saying during the discussions. Sources in Netanyahu's office said that he believes the release of terrorists into the West Bank would risk the security of Israeli citizens because of the geographical proximity to Israeli urban centers and would also strengthen the Hamas terrorist infrastructure in the West Bank. According to news reports, the Forum of 7 is divided into 2 camps. In opposition to the proposed deal are Avigdor Lieberman, Benny Begin, and Moshe Ya'alon, who argue that the release of hundreds of terrorists is dangerous for Israelis. Among the supporters, Ehud Barak, Eli Yishai, and Dan Meridor, who argue that it is their obligation to ensure that an IDF prisoner is brought home. The deciding vote and ultimate fate of Gilad Shalit appears to be in the hands of the Prime Minister. Eli Wogelenter, IBA News.
President Shimon Peres says the government's Forum of 7 are facing a difficult decision over the fate of Gilad Shalit, and they must be left to make that decision without outside pressure and without leaks to the media. Peres said no one, including me, should interfere at this critical moment by expressing their own views. Chairman of the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee, Tzachi Hanegbi, rejected the voices calling on the Prime Minister to publish details of the prisoner exchange deal before it is finalized. Hanegbi said making those details public will play directly into the hands of the enemy. Meanwhile, Labor Knesset member Eitan Kabul called on the Prime Minister to approve the prisoner exchange agreement. Kabul said after more than 3 years of negotiating, there is no choice but to go through with the deal. At the same time, Kabul wrote to the Netanyahu saying, "It is now up to you to make sure that this is the last such exchange deal."
Ehud Olmert, the first former Israeli prime minister to be indicted, today denied all the charges against him. Olmert was seated in the Jerusalem District Court alongside his fellow defendant, Shula Zaken, who headed his bureau throughout his political life. Olmert's attorney, Eli Zohar, said his client totally denies all the allegations against him. The grave charges against Olmert and Zaken involve 3 separate cases of alleged corruption: the Talansky case, the Rishon Tours scandal, and the Investment Center case. Olmert and Zaken are accused of fraud, breach of trust, falsifying corporate records, and tax evasion. The former Prime Minister's defense team has just lost one of its most valuable members, Yehuda Weinstein, who was recently appointed Israel's next Attorney General.
يتواصل الجدل في إسرائيل حول قضية سرقة معهد الطب الشرعي.
In Israel, the controversy over the harvesting of organs from the bodies of dead Palestinians, Israelis, and foreign workers by the Israeli Forensic Institute continues to unfold. The organ harvesting story first aired on the Israeli Channel 2 network. In response, the Palestinian Council of Ministers formed an investigation committee to follow up on the case. In addition, Ahmed al-Tibi, an Arab-Israeli member of parliament, said that the inquiry, which he filed with the Israeli Minister of Health, will be discussed in the Knesset next Wednesday. More details in the following report from Walid al-Omari in Jerusalem.
The scandal over organ theft began emerging after organs were harvested from the body of Bilal Ghanem, a Palestinian martyr. The harvest took place during an autopsy at the Israeli Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv. The report, which stirred wide-scale condemnation by Israel, was made public by a Swedish journalist. The journalist secretly captured images of Bilal's body, which was transported by the Israeli army to the village of Imatain in the northern West Bank 2 days after he was killed. The incident took place in 1990 when Bilal was shot to death by Israeli forces near the entrance to his home. Nearly 4 months ago, the Swedish journalist broke the story. This prompted U.S. professor Nancy Shepherd-Hughes to release an audio tape that was recorded in 2000. In the tape, Shepherd-Hughes interviewed Yehuda Hiss, the former head of the Israeli Forensic Institute. During the interview, which was part of scientific research, Hiss talked about what appeared to be a systematic harvesting of Palestinian organs. The audio tape was released with Hiss's voice on it by Israeli Channel 2. Channel 2 has aired the interview next to a story of an Israeli father whose son was a soldier killed during a military training in 1997. The father, who is a doctor, discovered that corneas and skin had been harvested from his son's body.
هيس مدير معهد الطب الشرعي كشف للباحثة الأمريكية أن مؤسسته.
Hiss, the former head of the Israeli Forensic Institute, told U.S. researcher Shepherd-Hughes that his institute had indeed harvested organs during the 1990s in cooperation with the health division of the Israeli army. The Israeli army sent physicians from the military reserve division on a mission to harvest organs and store them in the organ bank at the Hadassah Hospital for medical treatment purposes.
قلب ورقع جلدية من متوفين إسرائيليين وفلسطينيين وعمال أجانب.
Hiss confirmed that workers at the institute harvested skin, corneas, heart valves, and bones from the bodies of dead Israelis, Palestinians, and foreign workers without permission from their families in most cases. The Israeli Forensic Institute told Israeli Channel 2 that they ended this practice more than 10 years ago. However, many of the Palestinian families whose sons were killed and taken to the Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv noticed that the bodies of their relatives carry scars similar to those discovered on Bilal's body. Bilal's body was stitched closed from his chin to his lower abdomen, which is why his family believes that his organs may have been harvested. What would the Israelis say if the scandal had taken place in a different country and its victims were Israelis? A question that may find an answer one day. An answer that may help end the harvesting of organs from the bodies of the deceased without the permission of their families. Walid al-Umari, Al Jazeera, West Jerusalem.
Al Jazeera, Al-Quds al-Gharbiyya.
The third Artery of Life convoy arrived in Greece after leaving Italy. The convoy's final destination is Gaza, passing through Turkey and Jordan. In Jordan, professional unions are preparing to receive the convoy on the 24th of December and called on the Jordanian people to prepare a number of vehicles to join the convoy.
من بريطانيا ففرنسا ثم إيطاليا فاليونان. The Artery of Life convoy departed from Britain and passed by France, Italy, and Greece. The convoy, which has been receiving public and official support, will go to Turkey, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt before finally arriving in Gaza. This convoy is the third one to be led by British Parliament member George Galloway. It is now in Greece. It includes 200 cargo trucks, 60 of which were donated by Turkey. It aims to transport humanitarian supplies from Europe and the world to Gaza. In Jordan, professional unions announced during a press conference their willingness to receive the convoy on the 24th of December. The convoy is scheduled to arrive in Gaza on the first anniversary of the Zionist war.
The plan is to have the convoy arrive in Gaza on the 27th of December to mark the first anniversary of the war on Gaza. It has been 3 years since the suffocating siege was imposed on Gaza.
Jordanian professional unions hope that the Third Artery of Life convoy will receive a warm welcome from the public and officials. They also hope that the Jordanians will extend their arms to the people of Gaza by donating the largest possible amount they can.
We, the professional unions, call on everyone in Jordan to donate to the convoy. We also hope that the government supports the convoy. We demand that the government play a major role in welcoming this convoy as a way to express the Jordanian position.
في الأردن ستدعم القافلة أيضا بنحو 6 شاحنات محملة بالمساعدات.
Jordan will donate 60 additional cargo trucks loaded with humanitarian aid. 2 committees were formed, one for receiving the convoy and another to survey the amount and kind of medicine needed in Gaza in order for it to be shipped with the convoy. The convoy will be received at the border of every province before leaving Aqaba to Egypt.
News reports coming from the Iranian city of Qom indicate that Basij members attacked the home of the late Grand Ayatollah Montazeri and ripped up the Book of Condolences. The city of Qom hosted the majestic funeral that witnessed clashes between supporters of the departed leader and Iranian security forces.
بمشاركة مئات الآلاف من المشيعين الإيرانيين
Hundreds of thousands of Iranian mourners participated in the funeral procession to bid farewell to dissident religious leader Grand Ayatollah Hossein Ali Montazeri in the Iranian city of Qom. Sources indicate that hundreds of thousands of reformists attended the funeral. Among the most notable attendees were Mir Hossein Mousavi and Mehdi Karoubi, who stressed to the opposition the importance of attending the funeral of Montazeri and considered today a national day of mourning.
مؤيد المعارضة رددوا شعارات مناهضة للحكومة ومؤيدة للمعارض موسوي.
Supporters of the opposition repeated chants against the government and in support of opposition leader Mousavi, which resulted in confrontations between them and armed pro-government supporters, who used megaphones to disrupt the march, even though Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned agitators and ordered the public to respect the funeral processions.
المظاهرات انطلقت أيضا في عدد من المدن والجامعات الإيرانية.
Demonstrations also took place in a number of Iranian cities and universities to mourn the death of Montazeri. Iranian security forces extensively spread out in the streets of the capital of Tehran, in Isfahan and Qom, and arrested several pro-reform supporters on their way to take part in the funeral procession. The authorities issued a strict warning to local and foreign media in regards to their coverage of the funeral. In addition, all means of communication between Qom and other Iranian cities were cut off. The Iranian streets seemed saddened by the departure of Montazeri, and businesses closed for the day to mourn one of the biggest critics of the government. Newspapers featured the life of the departed opposition leader instead of his criticism of the current government. They simply highlighted his role in society, as he is considered by some to be a great man for his support of the Iranian Revolution. With Montazeri's death, who was once the designated successor of Imam Khomeini, but became isolated, the opposition lost a strong moral voice of support. Many considered him a spiritual father of the reform movement in Iran for his repeated defense of it during the clashes that followed the last presidential election. Khaled Al-Kashif, Al-Arabiya.
وفي موضوع الملف النووي نفى سعيد جليلي كبير المفاوضين النوويين الإيرانيين.
Iran's chief nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili denied any link between Tehran and weapons seized by Thailand this month from a plane coming from North Korea, following reports that the weapons were bound for Iran. Jalili stated that his country, unlike North Korea, is a member of the Non-Proliferation Treaty and of the International Atomic Energy Agency.
The Yemeni government said that its offensive, which it launched 2 days ago in the provinces of Abiyan, Sana'a, and Arhab, was meant as a preemptive strike against al-Qaeda. The government added that its offensive has foiled a plot by al-Qaeda to carry out bomb and suicide attacks, targeting government and foreign installations.
The security operation that the Yemeni government carried out against al-Qaeda cells in Abiyan, Arhab, and Sana'a is proof of the growing conflict between Yemen and the network. Sana'a is seeking to isolate al-Qaeda and eradicate its influence inside Yemeni territories. However, the airstrike that the Yemeni army carried out against al-Qaeda training camps in the area of Mahfad in the province of Abiyan generated many reservations among Yemenis inside and outside the country. This news comes after some Yemenis criticize the army offensive, which they claim has killed dozens of civilians. A source in the Yemeni High Security Committee in Sana'a called on the countries where the former Yemeni president Ali Salim al-Baid and the former governor of Abiyan, Muhammad Ali Ahmad, are living to hand them over to Yemen because they are wanted by the Yemeni judiciary. The Yemeni government announced that its military operation was meant as a preemptive strike against al-Qaeda terror cells. Al-Qaeda has been plotting to carry out a series of bomb and suicide attacks against government and foreign institutions and installations. A Yemeni government source said that 34 armed al-Qaeda fighters were killed and more than 29 others were captured in Sana'a and Arhab. The source added that among the dead were high-ranking al-Qaeda operatives in the region of Ma'ajala and Abiyan. Meanwhile, the Yemeni security agencies in Ma'arib have published a list including 25 names of the most dangerous al-Qaeda operatives in Yemen. The army also heightened security measures along Yemeni state highways in order to capture fleeing members of al-Qaeda. Furthermore, the army stepped up security measures around the capital in anticipation of retaliatory attacks by al-Qaeda. Sources are warning that the next round of confrontations with al-Qaeda will likely take place in the province of Ma'arib.
Pakistan's main opposition party says it will not support unconstitutional actions against President Asif Ali Zardari or his government. The Pakistan Muslim League, however, has warned of protest if Zardari does not give up some powers. The party, led by former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, has called for Zardari and 2 ministers to step down. This after the Pakistani Supreme Court revoked a controversial amnesty that protects senior government figures. Zardari and his ruling party have issued a defiant statement. They say no members of the government plan to resign. President Zardari has been dogged by allegations of corruption since the 1990s. He says the charges are politically motivated.
The former deputy chief of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, AEOI, Mohammad Saidi, has been tasked with constructing new nuclear power plants in the country. The head of the AEOI, Ali Akbar Salahi, says Saidi will also be appointed to a second capacity. Salahi, however, declined to mention the title of that post. Iran is planning to build at least 10 more uranium enrichment plants. Tehran says its nuclear activities are peaceful and only aimed at generating energy for its growing population.
Prime Minister Samir Rifai has pledged that his government will deliver on directives contained in the Royal Letter of Designation and place the economy as a top priority. He vowed that the government will preserve to achieve higher growth figures and improve citizens' standard of living. Rifai told Central Bank of Jordan governor and top officials that economic decisions should be coordinated with all parties involved in charting economic policy. Such decisions, he stressed, should ensure a sound bank system and apply international criteria to spur the economy. Noting that the next phase, with indications of recovery from the global credit crunch, required full coordination of fiscal, monetary and investment policy within the General National Economic Plan. He said the global economic downturn was the main reason behind economic slowdown in the kingdom, noting that he forecast improvement in global demand and consequently demand on Jordanian goods and services to shore up growth. He urged team spirit to stimulate the national economy and attract capital, which will help to solve the problems of poverty and unemployment.
The Lebanese military, the UNIFIL and Red Cross are continuing to search for the crew of the ship that sank off the Tripoli shores. The death toll has exceeded 10.
When British citizen Robin took off from a port in Uruguay, he couldn't imagine that his destination would be the morgue in a hospital in Tripoli. Robin and 10 of his travel companions died in Lebanese waters after their ship, the Panamanian-flagged Dajani F2, sank off the Nakheel Islands in Tripoli before it could drop anchor in the port. The stormy weather did not prevent the rescue teams from searching for the missing crew. Once the vessel sank, the Lebanese Army, UNIFIL forces, and the Lebanese Red Cross mobilized their naval and air troops. They found 11 dead bodies and 39 others with mild to severe wounds, including Lebanese national Ahmed Arab. The other 33 people are still missing. Some of the dead and injured, mostly Asians, drifted into Al Abdi shore in Akkar. Reports indicated the possibility of bodies getting carried away from Lebanese waters by strong waves. The cause for the sinking ship has not yet been determined. The ship was heading to the Tartus port in Syria, but altered course because of the storm and a possible mechanical failure.
There are many factors that could have caused the ship to sink, but I don't think it's because it was overloaded. It could be the weather. There may have been a problem with the stability of the ship which led to mechanical failures. We haven't determined the exact cause yet. We have rescued a large number of sailors, and we hope that one of them is a technician who can tell us exactly what happened.
Helicopters were used in the rescue operation and to transfer the wounded to Al Khayyat airport. They are now checked into several different hospitals in Tripoli.
Pero okay naman mi, okay naman. Wala man ako may wala man ako sugatan wala man. I waiting for the water to go up.
I was waiting for the water to go up because it was dangerous to jump. When the water rose and submerged us, I started to swim.
بحسب معلومات للجديد فإن وكيل السفينة داني F2 لبناني الجنسية وهو من According to New TV, the agent of the ship, Dajani F2, is a Lebanese national and is a member of the Fakhri family. The rescue commanders have two major concerns. The first one is humanitarian, since the hope of finding more survivors is becoming very dim because of the bad weather and the cold water. The second is environmental, seeing that the ship was carrying more than 50,000 calves. If they break out of their pens, the animals will die and the sea will be seriously polluted. From Port Tripoli, Kristen Habib, New TV.
Mauritania is one of the developing nations threatened by global warming, and the first noticeable consequence is the scarcity of drinking water that has, in turn, driven its prices up. To make matters worse, work on new water pipes that will provide just a limited amount of clean drinking water has not been completed yet. Mauritanians have no choice but to resort to using donkey carriages to distribute water. From Nouakchott, Mahmoud Al-Muhammad.
شوارع العاصمة الموريتانية ورشة عمل لا تتوقف.
The streets of the Mauritanian capital are constantly under some form of construction work, and right now holes are being dug up to install water pipes supposed to provide Nouakchott and its suburbs with safe drinking water. In the meantime, residents of the city only have access to a very limited amount of water, sold at exorbitant prices, which leaves poor people unable to pay for this basic necessity. The priority for the remainder of the saved water from previous years goes first and foremost to the owners of donkey carriages. They come from impoverished areas, and as long as water is available in its points of sale, they send the money they make home.
وإليها يجلبون الماء بانتظام ما دام الماء متوفرا في نقاط بيعه.
The authorities are tackling the water problem as a means to reduce the hardship of poor neighborhoods. Here, carts line up to transport water barrels. However, the work of carriage owners collides with the greed of the owners of the water taps, who constantly increase the price.
الذين يرفعون الأسعار باستمرار.
هذا الماء كيف اليوم ما هو خالق.
They constantly hike up the price of water. They did so on Wednesday, on Thursday, and Saturday.
والخاطئات ما يشبع.
ميزة العربة والحمار أنها تجوب شوارع وأزقة المدينة.
Donkey carts roam the streets of the city without any embarrassment, since it provides an income to a lot of residents. Donkey cart owners with filled carts usually don't complain. Poor residents here tell us that the reason for not solving the water scarcity goes back to the fact that water is abundantly available to decision makers, those who are responsible for resolving the problem. Mahmoudi El Mohammed, Dubai TV, Nouakchott.
The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.